Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Hi, friends. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your practice. I hope this finds you in good health, safe. All right. So we're reading the Quantum Life Buddhism Threefold Lotus Dharma Sutra. We are about to start chapter 19. We have been instructed to stop thinking of nirvana as the simple detachment from earthly desires, and to understand that the full meaning, the full explanations, the full goal, the only goal for this practice of Buddhism is to attain enlightenment, which is already a part of what and who and how we are right now. No waiting. Change your mind. Do it now. And then we're told, instructed, to keep that mindset via our behavior, how to behave, how to practice, what we can expect from practice, how all the way through this, how to share every step of our evolution toward this enlightenment, to do it now. And so now, since we've been told all of this, which is still all about self, me, the big part that's always included, but not drilled into quite like everything else, is what do you get out of teaching this? It's in there throughout, but it's not the focus. So chapter 19, the merits of the teacher of the law. Right? Not just what you can experience, what you can expect to experience, what you can hope to experience, your enlightenment, but universally, what are the merits of the teacher of the law? Well, that's a little different, yeah? All right. So chapter 19. Oh, man, I need coffee today. Then the Buddha addressed the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, ever zealous. Now you remember ever zealous. He's one of the leaders of the Bodhisattvas of the earth, yes? Okay. If any good son or good daughter receives and keeps this Law Flower Dharma Sutra, or reads or recites or expounds or copies it, that person will obtain 800 merits of the eye, 1,200 merits of the ear, 800 merits of the nose, 1,200 merits of the tongue, 800 merits of the body, and 1,200 merits of the mind. Now, once again, as I said in the previous chapter, he's recalling some of the first things he said after he reached his own enlightenment, right? Trying to explain to us ordinary humans with our attached experience of the skandhas, because that's what he's talking about, eye consciousness, right? Sound, oral, ear consciousness. Tongue consciousness is both taste, sensation, but it's also voice, words, sentences that the mind slips in there, yes? The sixth consciousness, the seventh, the epistemology. Logical is what I was going to say. Epistemological, finally got it out. The nose. Oh, yes, the nose knows. You smell this, you smell that. We all know that a dog has 200 million receptors where we have, a paltry 10 million. 1,000, I don't know. It's a huge difference, right? A dog walks into a yard by a house and he knows who's been there, when they've been there, how long they've been there. On and on, just from the nose. So in the Avatamsaka, that first oration, he was talking about enlightenment allows you, because of your moment-to-moment experience, to develop so broader an experience of what the skandhas can provide, that what samsara provides you is so parameterized, affected by likes, dislikes, craving, clinging, right? It's like if all your nose knows how to smell is peanuts, everything smells like peanut butter, that kind of a bad analogy. Whereas when your nose sense, when your consciousness is purified via truthfully experiencing everything that is experienceable, potential in that consciousness, suddenly you become aware through that sense of so much more. But it fell on deaf ears, right? You know, oh, we'll be able to smell better. I smell pretty good. No. They weren't understanding, right? But now he's hitting it up again, hopefully with this instruction and this teaching and all of these years of dedication, the monks he's talking to will be able to perceive what he's saying. So that simply, let me make it a plain example. If you adamantly chant every day to meet Buddha, that mindset, right? Not chanting for better peanut butter, not chanting to feel better about a breakup. Chant to meet Buddha, chant to instantiate that reality. Not Buddha, little fat man. Buddha, you. Chant to open that mind of yours. These 800 merits of the body, that could be everything from having regular bowel movements to healing sores more quickly, maybe even a gain of function of something that's been lacking, maybe a reduction in your experience of pain. Who knows? It's individual. It's your potential to be fully expressed without the impedances of your mind, because your mind is actively impeding you. That is the essence of samsara. Get samsara out of there. Buddha, now I see. Yes? So this is what he's saying. If any good son or good daughter receives and keeps this Law Flower Dharma Sutra, reads or recites it, or expounds or copies it, or, these are all ors. If whatever way you choose to really dedicate yourself, that person will obtain, not might, will obtain 800 merits of the eye. You will see things you had before overlooked. 1,200 merits of the ear. You'll hear people's life condition rather than just the words coming out of their mouths. Things of that nature. Do you see? 800 merits of the nose. Do I have to explain? 1,200 merits of the tongue. You will be a more eloquent speaker. You won't trip over your words so much. Your thoughts will become ordered. 800 merits of the body. I've already talked about that. And 1,200 merits of the mind, which is involved in all of these, right? With these merits, this person will dignify his 6 sense organs, making them all serene. Notice the word dignify. I'm always reminding us to comport ourselves with the dignity that our practice deserves, inculcates into our mind. That good son or good daughter with the natural pure eyes received at birth from his parents will see whatever exists within and without the 3,000 great 1,000-fold world. A translation I offered earlier, those same eyes will see with deep penetrating, right? We've heard that word before, penetrating, observation of how others actually are. Not just their outward appearances, which are all judged and categorized with samsara, but penetrating into their very being, moment to moment to moment. What's going on with them? How do they perceive the world? What words could I offer with my purified tongue and mind that would reach deep into them? Not, hey, you got a haircut, you're looking good today. Very superficial, very samsara. Hey, you seem troubled about something. Is it the health of one of your relatives? How could you possibly know that? I could see it. I could smell it. I could hear it in your footsteps. Do you understand? Mountains, forests, rivers, and seas, down to the Avicii hell and up to the summit of existence, and also see all the living beings in it, as well as see and know in detail all their karma, causes, and rebirth states of repercussion. The whole engine and how it's taking a form as that individual, whether it be a shrub, a relative, a mountain, a bird, the sky, your intuitive, penetrating eyes will perceive the world, your world, as it truly is, free of the obstacles of judgment and coloration and desires and repulsions. And this is amazing. This is a description of enlightenment, the merits of the teacher of the law, not the merits of practicing, the merits of sharing. Bodhisattva, Lotus Bodhisattva. Thereupon the world-honored one, desiring to proclaim this teaching over again, spoke thus in verse. If one in the great assembly, all of humanity, with fearless mind, right, wide open, give it to me now, teaches this law flower Dharma Sutra, hearken to your merits. That person will obtain 800 surpassing merits of vision. Because of these endowments, his eyes will be entirely serene, untroubled, unblocked. With the eyes received from his parents, he will see all the 3,000-fold world. In other words, from these Saha World material eyes, mind, you'll be able to see the true nature of the cosmos, of everything in it. Can you imagine? Please require that your practice make this happen. Require it. He goes on with within and without Mount Meru, Sumeru and its iron circle, and the other mountains and forests, great ocean, rivers and waters, down to the Avicii hell, the samsaric world of suffering, up to the summit of existence, the Buddha land. See, this isn't geography lesson. This is mind lesson, perception lesson. The living beings in its midst, all will be seen by you. Though not yet having attained transcendent vision, his eyes of flesh have powers like these. Mr. Bodhisattva, Ms. Bodhisattva. And again, ever zealous. If any good son or daughter receives and keeps this sutra, or reads, or recites, or expounds, or copies it, that person will obtain 1,200 merits of the ear. With this serene ear, you will hear in the 3,000 great thousandfold world, the entire cosmos, downward to the Avicii hell, samsara, upward to the summit of existence, Buddha land, within and without, all the various words and sounds, the sounds of elephants, of horses, of cows, of carriages, of wailing, of lamentation, of conches, of drums, of gongs, of bells, of laughter, of speech, of men, of women, of boys, of girls, of the lawful, of the unlawful, of suffering, of pleasure, of common people or revered men, of comfort, of discomfort, of universal realms of influence, of dragons, of yakshas, of Gandharvas, of Asuras, of Garudas, of Kimnaras, of Mahogaragas, of fire, of water, of wind, of the hells, of the animals, of hungry spirits, of bhikshus, bhikshunis, of shravakas, of pratyakabuddhas, of bodhisattvas, and of Buddhas. You will discern and you will hear with clarity any sound or voice and what its foundations of being are. How many times I could tell by your tone of voice you were. Can you do that with anyone, everything, all the time? That kind of ear, yeah? Though he have still not obtained the heavenly ear, yet by the natural pure ears received at birth from his parents, born in this material world, all these he will hear and know. We kind of have an obsession with knowing, don't we? That's the irony. Our great desire to know is the very same desire that creates craving and clinging. So I don't know, maybe, could I word that better? I'll look into it. Once again, I'll use this wonderful gift I was given of these little sticky notes. Thank you again. And thus he discriminates all these various sounds without harm to his organ of hearing, lest you fear that this would cause you harm. Thereupon the world-honored one desiring to proclaim this teaching over again spoke thus, you guessed it, in verse. His ears received from parents are serene and untainted. By these ordinary ears he hears the sounds in the 3,000-fold world, the 3,000 realms in a single thought moment, the 3,000-fold world, all of the influences, the potential for each of your moments to instantiate. You seeing this thread? By these ordinary ears, he hears the sounds of the 3,000-fold world. You become aware of all opportunity. How is that? Can you even conceive of that? The sounds of elephants, horses, carts, and oxen, the sounds of gongs, bells, conches, and drums, the sound of lutes and harps, the sound of pipes and flutes, the sound of pure and lovely song. He can listen without being under their control. He hears the sound of countless kinds of men and can understand all that he hears. Because you hear all of influences, you're no longer influenced, yeah? He hears also the sounds of universal realms of influences, all those realms, and an a priori voices of singing. Hears sounds of men and women and sounds of youths and maidens, in mountains, streams, and gorges, the sounds of kalavinkas, birds with a melodious voice, jivakas, and other birds. All these sounds he hears, the bitter pains of the hosts of hell and the sounds of their sufferings, the hungry spirits driven by hunger and the sounds of their importunity. The Asuras and others inhabiting the ocean shores, and they converse together, bellow forth their cries. Such a teacher as this, calmly dwelling amidst this, hears from afar all these sounds without harm to his organ of hearing. In other words, uninfluenced, but keenly aware. In the worlds in all directions, birds and beasts cry to each other, and the teacher here abides, hears them in every detail. All the Brahma heavens above, from those of light, sound, and universal purity, to the heaven called the summit of existence, the sounds of their conversations the teacher here abides, hears in every detail. All the host of bhikshus and of bhikshunis, reading or reciting the sutra, or teaching it to others, the teacher here abides and hears them in every detail. Again, there are the Bodhisattvas who read and recite this sutra law, or teach it unto others, collating and expounding its meaning. All such sounds as these he hears in every detail. The Buddhas, great and revered honored ones, transformers of all living beings, who, in their great assemblies, proclaim the a priori law, he who keeps this law flower hears in every detail. In the 3,000 great thousandfold world, its sound within and without, downward to the Avicii hell, upward to the summit, and because his ears are acute, he can discriminate and know them all. Talk about understanding, yeah? Talk about insight. This is amazing. He who keeps this law flower, though not yet possessed of purified ears, completely purified, enlightened, and only using his natural ears, has already such merits as these. So let's be clear. When he says you haven't reached that transformative ear, what he's talking about is the very nature of the potential of a hearing mechanism that is amalgamated and born out into and fleshed out as a human being in the Saha world. This ear consciousness, this thing that is constructed in order to perceive sound. And if you read the Nidana, you'll understand what I'm saying. Started as a question mark of a potential and how to go about experiencing a particular instantiation of that potential in order to begin to form something we call an ear to become aware of and sense, it's a sense organ, this other thing we presuppose to be sound. That heavenly ear, that nature of earness, suchness. We, with our Saha World material instantiated ear, can do all of this stuff that started as a desire to experience before it even became this fleshy thing, organ, connections, neurons, blah, 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 to hear. Moreover, ever zealous, if any good son or good daughter receives and keeps this sutra, reads or recites or expounds or copies it, that person will attain 800 merits of the nose. So now we're going to go on to the nose. And by means of this serene organ, the serene organ being all of the amalgamated energies instantiating into atoms, molecules, DNA, all of it, leading up to this thing that we have, dogs have, frogs have. But the very causal stream of karma that brings about this thing we call a nose, in the 3,000 great thousandfold world, zenith and nadir, within and without, he will smell all kinds of fragrance, the fragrance of sumana flowers, of jaquita flowers, of malika flowers, of kampaka flowers, of patala flowers, of red lotus flowers, of blue lotus flowers, of white lotus flowers, of flowering trees, of fruit-bearing trees, of sandalwood, of aloes, of tamalapatras, of tagaras, and of thousands of myriads of blended perfumes, powdered, granular, or in unguents. He who keeps this sutra will abide in this place, can discern all of these, and of course a lot more. Again, he will discern the odors of all living beings. Right? There are dogs now that can sense whether you have a particular kind of cancer by their sense of smell. Can you even imagine that? This is what Shakyamuni is telling you. You'll discern all the odors of all living beings. The odor of elephants, of horses, of cattle, of goats, and so on. Of men, of women, of youths, of maidens, and of grass, trees, bushes, and woods. You will have penetrating insight into the state of beingness, the engine of life within, the causal chains within odors. Odors that you never before were even aware of. That kind of purification. Near or far, whatever odor there be, he will perceive it all and discern without error. He who keeps this sutra, though abiding here, will also perceive the odor of the universal realms of influence in the skies, in the heavens, in the cosmos. Another one I must fix. Of Parijata and Kovidara, of Mandarava flowers, and of Maha Mandarava flowers, of Manjushaka flowers, of Maha Manjushaka flowers, of all kinds of powdered sandalwood and aloes, and of many mingled flowers. All the odors exhaled from such mingled celestial perfumes, he will never fail to perceive and know. And he will perceive the odor of the bodies of universal realms of influence, the 3,000 realms, the odor of Chakra Devandara in his surpassing palace, indulging his 5 desires and disporting himself joyfully. Or when he is in his wonderful law hall teaching the law to the universal realms of influence of the Trayastrimsha, which I give you a definition of, because who's heard of the Tarashrimna? Much less be able to say it. It's one of the 33 heavens representing innumerable gods or influential thoughts, personified by demons and devas in Buddhist cosmology, and eventually subsumed into the scholarship of the 3,000 realms in a single thought moment. So this is what we're revolving around, yeah? Or when he wanders for pleasure in his gardens. Also, the odor of the bodies of the other male and female universal realms of influence. From afar, he will perceive them, thus proceeding to the Brahma world, up to the summit of excellence. He will also smell all the odors of the bodies of universal realms of influence. Besides, he will smell the incense burned by the universal realms of influence and the odor of the Shravakas, Pratyeka Buddhas, of Bodhisattvas, and of the bodies of Buddhas. From afar, he will smell all these and know where they are, where they abide. Though he smells these odors, yet his organ of smell will not be harmed or mistaken. Because all of these experiences of the smells, the sounds, the sights, where do they take place ultimately? Right? We're talking about the skandhas and purification of the skandhas. But where does the experience of the skandhas actually occur? Well, if we weren't practicing Buddhism, it would occur in those consciousnesses, and this is why samsara has such a good hold on them. But as I've demonstrated before in Wu Ji to you and me, and in the discussions of the 9 consciousnesses, when we awaken Buddha, the 9th consciousness, it subsums all the other 8. So now those skandhas are illuminated by, enlightened by, our Buddha suchness, right? Buddha is in everything, every realm. So now our I consciousness becomes the Buddha I consciousness, the Buddha ear consciousness, the Buddha tongue consciousness, and so on. That's what he's describing here. This is why the teacher of the law is a bodhisattva speaking of this practice using the Buddha mind, the purified compassion, yeah? Or when he is in, I read that. From afar he will perceive them, thus proceeding to the Brahma world up to the summit of existence. He will also smell all the odors of the body and Israel, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I read that. You'll become instantly aware. Somebody walks into the room, you'll know if they're Shravaka, Pratyeka Buddha, you'll know their state of being. The Bodhisattvas and the bodies of Buddhas. And if he wishes to define them to others, his memory will not err. Thereupon the world-honored one, desiring to proclaim this teaching over again, spoke thus in verse. The nose of this teacher, being serene, the odor of everything in this world, be it fragrant, be it fetid, in full detail he smells and knows. Understands. I prefer that to knows. It's kind of a knows. How do you spell it? I'm going to replace that with understands. Oh boy, I can hardly write anymore. Getting old is so much fun. Sumana and Jatika, Tamalapatra and sandal, aloes and cinnamon, odors of flowers and fruits, odors of the living, odors of men and women. The teacher, dwelling afar, smells them and knows their place. All-powerful wheel-rolling kings, minor wheel rollers and their sons, all their ministers and courtiers, he by smell knows their place. The jewels they wear upon them, the treasures hidden in the earth, the precious queens, literally the precious women, of wheel-rolling kings, he by smell knows their place. From the things adorning people, their clothes and necklaces, and the perfumes they use for anointing, he by smell knows their persons. The universal realms of influence, whether walking or seating, their playing and conjured powers, he who keeps this law flower by smell can know in detail. The scent of the tree flowers and fruits and the fragrance of ghee oil. He who keeps this law flower abiding here well knows their place. This is all about the experience of a bodhisattva, Lotus Bodhisattva, in this Saha world, right? This is the only place you can achieve the way. It's the only place with a sentient mind. Once you leave this place, this Saha world, it's done. This is your opportunity. Mountain gorges and cliffs, diffusion of sandal trees, blossoms, and all the beings there dwelling, he, by smelling, can perfectly know. The oceans with the iron rim, the living within their lands, he who keeps this sutra by their smell knows their place. Ashuras, male and female, and all their tribe and followers, when they quarrel or play together, he by smell is able to discern. Prairies or ravines where roam lions, elephants, tigers, wolves, bisons, buffaloes, and their kind, he by smell knows their place. If there be a woman with child who discerns not yet its sex, male, female, organless, or inhuman, he by smell can discern it. By his power of smell, he knows if the newly pregnant will succeed or not in being joyfully delivered of happy children. By his perspective of power, of smell, he knows the thoughts of men and women, their minds of lust, foolishness, or anger, and also who knows the doers of goodness. All the treasures hidden in the earth, gold, silver, and jewels, heaped in copper vessels, by smell he can clearly distinguish. All sorts of jeweled necklaces of price beyond all knowledge. By smell he knows their value, their source, and their location. The flowers of the various heavens, mandaravas, manjushakas, and prajita trees, by smell he can clearly distinguish. The palaces of the heavens, whether upper, middle, or lower, adorned with every precious flower, by smell he can clearly distinguish. The heavenly gardens, groves, surpassing palaces, studies, and wonderful law halls, and those who take their pleasure in them, by smell he can clearly distinguish. Whenever the universal realms of influence are hearing the law or indulging in the five senses, the skandhas, coming, going, walking, sitting, lying, he by smell can clearly distinguish. The garments the goddesses wear, adorned and perfumed with beautiful flowers, as they ramble about for pleasure, by smell he can clearly distinguish. So is it in turn, ascending even up to the Brahma worlds, those in meditation and out of it, by smell he can clearly distinguish. From the universal realms of influence, light, sound, and universal purity, to the heavenly summit of all existence, from their birth to their disappearance, by smell he can all distinguish. All the host of bhikshus, ever progressing in the law, whether seated or walking about, reading and reciting the sutra, or beneath trees in the forest, devoting themselves to meditation, the keeper of this sutra, by smell, knows their every location. Bodhisattvas, firm of will, in meditation or reading the sutra, or teaching the law to others, by smell he can all distinguish. The world honored in every direction, by all beings revered, who pity all or take great compassion for all and teach the law. We're almost done here, folks. By smell he can distinguish. The living who, in a Buddha's presence, hear the sutra and rejoice together and act according to the law. Myoho Renge Kyo. By smell he can distinguish. Though not yet possessed of a bodhisattva's faultless, law-begotten organ of smell, yet this keeper of the sutra first obtains this faculty of smell. Further, ever zealous, if any good son or good daughter receives and keeps this sutra and either reads or recites or expounds or copies it, he will also obtain 1,200 merits of the tongue. And we will leave that organ for the next video. So, up until now, we've been learning about simply how to take on the responsibility of this practice as bodhisattvas, instantiating our Buddha-ness at every available moment. And by doing so, radiating that influence into our world. Yes? And you can tell it's about to start raining again here in Mississippi. That's not a sound effect to indicate how powerful a lesson this is. Although it's pretty good on cue there. Thank you. I don't even know if you could hear that. It may look insane on this video. At any rate, this is another shift in the Lotus, isn't it? This is saying, look, this is, if you're not sure what to expect by this practice, have you reached all of these measures? No, you're still working on it. But there's more to go and there's more to experience. Get excited, get committed, get driven. Resolve to instantiate Buddha in your life, yeah? All right. That's it for today. Thank you for listening. You know all the links are in the descriptions if you want to help support more or continue to support as you all are. I'm incredibly grateful. Thank you, patrons. Thank you, all of you. Use the resource. There's so much information here. Whatever you need to bolster your confidence, answer your doubts, whatever it is. And if you're not finding it, send me an email. Say so in the comments. I will provide. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Take care of yourself. Keep your practice strong. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.